All right, we're back in World of Warcraft. It's been a while. Had some RL stuff going on. Plus, I've been dealing with some severe pain in my arm from too much usage, basically, and it's not what you think. Too much gaming. All right, so let's get back in the saddle. Get this character to 60. Oh yeah. Make sure that my volume is correct. Should be good. What level are we? Level 30. Actually, you know what? We should be looking for dungeon groups. I gotta remember how to play. It's been a few days since I played the since we played the Melee Hunter. A little bit of a lag there. A little bit of a lag spike. Where's my ping at? It's fine. Not a lot of communication going on in the guild. You know, as Blizzard continues, look, there's only 28 members online. As Blizzard continues to release new versions of games and bullshit, they continue to basically kill their own population. You know what I mean? It's like, come on. How many fucking versions of World of Warcraft do we really need, right? But the good news is Project Epic is coming, and I believe it's April 3rd. If you guys are not familiar with Project Epic, then you should get familiar with it because it's actually going to be probably really, really fun. Let me just go back and see. Let's see what time, 6:19 p.m. As you can see, the Discord's pretty active. I mean, I'm scrolling, just trying to get through today's messages, trying to find the message that I sent. Okay. What's the add-ons? Am I in the wrong side? No, what's the add-ons? I'm not seeing it. Anyways, in here somewhere. Let's see. Let's search for, I think it was January, February, March, April. Okay, beta 3 opens on the April 5th. There we go. That is very soon indeed. And if we go to the, let's see, is it the media section? If you want to get up to speed kind of on what's going on with Project Epic, what it's all about, I would suggest going to the Discord and going to the media section and just start. I don't know if you want to start at the top. I don't know. Okay, well, there is the top. Start at the top and just read and just kind of go through this media section. And it really kind of covers a lot of the updates of things they're working on, things they're doing. You can see here they even have released different sound clips, custom voices. Project Epic is going to have the undead paladins, new dungeons. It's going to have a lot of stuff. So, but that is getting close. April 5th, not far off. What are we looking at? We're like May 22nd. That's only like like 11 days or something. No, more than 11 days. Like 13 or 14 days. I can't remember if this month has 31 or 30. It should be interesting. It's going to be fun, though. I'm looking forward to Epic. I think that's going to be cool. Just wondering how many I'll get with this pull. I think I just get one. Yeah. Yep. What level does he have to be? Okay, he's getting pretty close. Hey Colby, how's it going? How you doing? Gotta take care of something? Alright, cool. Do what you gotta do. Do what you gotta do. How many are we gonna get? Just one? I like just one. I do not. This is kind of dangerous. Let's put a trap here just in case. Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good thing that I know that that's a weird spot to move up. We don't want to get 4 of them on us. That could kill us. So you gotta be careful about that. These guys, well, we don't want to fall down either. Get your butt back here, buddy. $29 over 30. That pulled 3 of them. I don't think I can take 3 of them. You can see, yeah, I don't think I can. They're already beating my pet up pretty good. Yeah, the Worgen are they're pretty tough. They actually, because of the poisons, that makes them even more difficult. Although I don't think these guys poison. All right, let's be a little bit more on the safe side here. Grind ourselves to level 31. I gotta go check on my dog real quick. My dog's still like not. I'm not super comfortable leaving my dog like unattended because he likes to chew stuff. So, while I'm in flight here, I'm gonna go check on my dog, make sure he's not getting into something. I'll be right back. He was being good. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it tonight. I was thinking about doing it tomorrow because I'm kind of tired, but I've got a new I've got a new CPU fan, water, liquid cooler that I'm gonna install because my sometimes that alert. I wish you could change the volume of that alert because it's so loud. But that's the point. Make sure you don't miss it. But yeah, I was when I was playing Terra, like my CPU uh, was getting hot. Let's just put it that way. And so my CPU cooler was going into overdrive, and the pump, a CPU fan cooler has it's a pump. It's a liquid cooler, so it's pumping that fluid. The pump was making some weird noises. Computer's 5 years old, so I said, you know what? I'll just buy a new liquid cooler, which was cost me about $200 or $180. How much did I pay for? Let me check see how much I paid for that. It's a Cooler Master. It's a pretty nice one, actually. It was... Well, it wasn't that much. It was $142. That's not too bad. Yeah. It was this one. Here. I purchased this one. The Cooler Master Liquid 240 Atmos. Anyways, I tried to put it in my computer the other day, but I realized that when I bought this computer from CyberPower, the way they assembled it's a little weird. They actually have a fan. They have they have a really bizarre. It's so hard to explain. It's like the way they did my computer is really funny. It's kind of jacked. It's kind of weird. I wouldn't have done it this way. So you've got like you got three case fans like this, and then each of these has got wires obviously coming out of them. These are going into another wire, which has some sort of a weird connector here. This wire goes up to the top of my case. So this is this would be the front of the case here. Actually, I probably should draw it like this, right? And these fans are on the side. They're not in the front here. They're actually on the side. They're on this side here, blowing air out that way. So, and then you've got the liquid cooler, which is you got the fans for the CPU liquid cooler. That mount up here, right? They mount up here on the top of your case. And there's two fans here, and then you've got your CPU processor here, and then sitting on top of that, you've got your big liquid cooler. And it's got a couple wires coming off of it, right? One's going into the controller, the AI controller, and the other wire is going up through here. And it's actually, and then there's two fan cables coming off these guys, and they're actually taking up two of the case fan controllers or case fan inputs on the motherboard, right? But what's weird is this wire here that's coming out the cooler is actually going through the back of the case, and and it looks to me like what it's doing is it's connecting to this cable here. So this cable has like a splitter on it, and it's going into here, and then this cable also is connecting to a power cable, one of the power cables that goes to the power supply. But it's not using the 4-pin connector. It's using one of those older style, like, I don't know if I can, those older style connectors that look like this with the little circles on the inside of it, those big ones that are big, that usually you plug like hard drive power cables into. So it's a little weird. So when I tried to replace this CPU cooler with my new one, I didn't have all of my case fans yet because I ordered 3 new case fans because 2 of these are dead. They were actually literally just dead. So, anyways, so what we've got, all right, let's see. So what we got is we've got the way the new computer setup's going to be, right? Is you'll have your 3 case fans, right? 3 case fans here. I've got the motherboard. This is the motherboard. And these 2 dots are pin controllers, power inputs for the fan. So I bought a splitter cable, a 3-pronged splitter cable. So it's going to connect here, and it's going to have a splitter that connects to each of these fans. So those are done, taken care of, boom, done. All right, don't need to deal with that anymore. Then the new cooler, which sits on top of the processor, is going to have one cable that goes into the AI. And then I got to remember how this works. And then since it's an RGB, there's actually an extra cable, and I'm trying to remember how it works, but you've got the cooler here, and inside here so these fans have multiple cables coming out of them now, because one's the power one, but the other one's the RGB. Now, there's another splitter that's like 3-prong splitter, and I'm pretty sure that one of these is going to go into here, for the RGB, and another one's going to go into here, and then there's I think another cable that's going to go into here, and then this cable is going to go into the RGB controller, and then these power cables here, I think I have to go back and look, but they're going into another connector, right? And I think that one may branch off of this one. I don't know. It's different. It's totally different. So anyways, when I started to replace the cooler, when I started looking at it, I'm like, the layout's going to be so different. So I think that's what happens when you have a computer and it's like gets 5 years old. Like you start putting in newer components, sometimes the connectors are going to be different, or you got to realize that when you build a computer from CyberPower, and all my last 3 or 4 computers have all been from CyberPower, right? And they're pretty good. I like CyberPower. You can pretty much custom build. It's kind of like iBuyPower, but I like them better. You can pretty much custom build your PC, pick whatever you want, but they're not going to give you the best. The CPU liquid cooler is not going to be like the best brand in the world, and your fans aren't going to be like the best fans in the world. Like I replaced, let me see, the fans that were in there were these pretty crappy fans, and like I said, 2 of them died already. So the fans that I bought to replace the ones that died are, and I didn't go with RGB because I'm not super big into I could care less about RGB, to be honest. But I went with these guys. I replaced all of them. I've ordered 3 Corsair, SP120 Elite fans, and these are good. You can see they have really good reviews, and they're just nice fans. So we should be good to go. I'll probably install that stuff tomorrow. Ooh, the Dwarven Mage Staff of the Wolf, even. Wow, 6 agility. Might actually be worth using. 18.4 damage per second. Look, let's see at level 32, we've got the big stick, which is really good. Now, this is bought from a vendor in Booty Bay, but look at this, plus 15 strength. It'd be better if it was plus 15 agility, but plus 15 strength is still not bad. It's going to give us 15 attack power, so basically plus 15 attack power. But, it's good. 25.7 damage per second. That's pretty good. The big stick hits pretty hard. All right, we got to put in another musical playlist here. Let's go with this one. Why not? All right. Why did you stop attacking, girl? Another weapon with agility on it. Now, this one's actually pretty interesting. Where is it? 17.5, but plus 10 agility. And look how slow it is. 3.6. That's really slow. 76, 90. Yeah, why not? This is a big-ass sword. Where is Mr. Morladim? And that sword's big. Where is he? There he is. The big sword. Let's take a look at our DPS. Let's clear this out. Let's see how much we do with the sword. If we get a lucky crit here, it'll be pretty good. And we did. 214. .84 DPS isn't bad at level 30 for a melee hunter. But that was just because you got that big crit in there. I hate slow weapons. They're so boring. The only cool thing about a slow weapon is if you crit. So it's like it's nice when you have like a really high crit rating, but or if you can somehow get yourself to attack faster with it, like some sort of haste buff or something. One thing that's kind of cool about the tomb here, or any of the tombs that look like this in WoW and in Vanilla, is there's actually a heartbeat. Check this out. So if I turn off the music and we turn up the ambient, you're going to hear a heartbeat. It's kind of creepy. I don't hear it. I don't want to be a liar. Normally you hear heartbeat. I know it's here. Maybe I'm not in the right section. There it is. I heard it. Hear it? You can just barely hear it in the background. It goes doom 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 doom. I didn't know I was playing Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos, but that's what the game says on my stream here, so let's fix that. This is not Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. Alright. But anyways, I don't like having the ambient up that loud, so. But there is a heartbeat there. A lot of times there's chests down here, which I kind of like going down here a lot because there's lots of chests, and there's a rare guy that spawns here too. So sometimes he's worth taking out. He doesn't really drop much anything good though. Oh, hey. Amber, wife's doing okay. She went to the doctor yesterday. She's gonna have to go in for another procedure next week, another stint, unfortunately. But the good news is the doctor, we've been talking about her lipoprotein or whatever the one is that basically is causing things to stick to her arteries, which there's no cure for, but there's currently a bunch of trials underway that have been very successful, like 90% successful, and the one Amber looked at was 93, I think. So they do believe that a cure will be coming out within the next couple of years. So we just need to monitor really closely, and hopefully we'll be able to. Let's just run in and take this guy out. And hopefully we'll be able to get that cure in a couple of years for her. Oh, how did he break out of it? How did he break out of my trap? That bastard. Yeah, Dan, hope you're feeling well as well. Hope you're doing okay, and I hope you enjoy hardcore. I was playing some Terra. I'm good. I'm glad that you're doing okay. I was playing some Terra last few days, which was really fun. The private server I was playing on was really good. Um, a lot of Hispanics on the server, though, unfortunately, because I don't speak Spanish super well. But it's just an open beta, so I've had enough of that for now, I think. When they do the full release of that private server, I'll probably play a little bit. But I'm actually really looking forward to Project Epic. I think Project Epic is going to be probably, it should be, if it plays really well, and I'll be able to find that out because the beta is coming up here in March, January, February, March, April. Sorry, April 5th. So April 5th, the Project Epic private server will do a beta, and I'll get a chance to go in and do some of the dungeons and hopefully try some of the new features. And if it's good, if it's like high quality good, I think that server could be really, really successful. So I'm excited about that. But yeah, I do like coming down to this dungeon because there's a lot of chests down in this dungeon, which is really cool. And I like that I can, jump across all these sarcophagi or whatever they are. Mutton shop, yeah, we can use that. Don't really want, don't want. Garbage, garbage, garbage. Oh, I threw down the wrong trap. I did not. I didn't want to throw down my freezing trap. Let's actually wait for the trap to expire. What do we got? Because it actually, we might be able to get. What's my feigned death? Where's it at? 12 seconds. The one good thing about feigned death on the hunter is it's a really short cooldown. And you can use your frost trap to kind of reset it if you want. You have a lot of reset potential. It's not as good as a mage, obviously, with sheep, but there's definitely a lot of reset potential you can do. Good, we can use more protection scrolls. I don't want tomb dusts. Is there anything else we need to get rid of? Pound of flesh we don't want. What is this? Cloth. We do have to switch to alchemy pretty soon. I just keep skinning guys. I don't know. I keep hoping that when I go over to the Worgen, there'll be a mage like AoE leveling there, and and he won't be a skinner. Because when that happens, and if they AoE level there for like an hour or something, I can make so much money. Because I'll just skin everything that the mage kills. It's an easy way to make money. One thing you want to do with the melee hunter is you really want to trap every pull because it increases your kill. I mean, you kill so much faster when you get your trap down. When your trap's pulling, 22% of my overall damage. That's freaking huge. It's huge. 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 The other thing, I would think that my add-on that tracks rares would have probably procced if the guy's here. But there is a rare elite that sits in these little alcoves here, and he's actually a real pain in the butt. So you want to be careful when you're in this specific room, because if that guy's up, he can kill you. He's really pretty strong. Welcome back. Welcome back to World of Warcraft. So I would like to get this character to 60 if I could, to kind of wrap this character up, and then at that point, right before, like, it would be nice to get this character to 60 before Project Epic launched. So I have, like, what, 14 days? I got 2 weeks. Can we get to 60 in 2 weeks? I'll have to play a lot of this character to do that. I'm level 30. It'd be tough. I mean, just getting from like 50 to 60 is... When you get to like 50, like basically each level takes... It's like a day. I mean, it's like each level is like... It's like 7 hours a level. I mean, I'm not joking. On a melee hunter especially, because you're not like, your kill time isn't that good. So it's pretty grindy. So I don't think that I can get to 60. But the good news is we can do dungeons. We can do dungeons, which will help. And we can group up. They don't prevent you from grouping, even in the open world doing quests in self-found here. Whereas with the hardcore add-on, you couldn't do that. You couldn't group up for quests. So if we push quests and try and push grouping, we could certainly do it a lot faster. No, your pets come back. Yeah. Yeah, pets, if they die, you just resurrect them. You don't have the one life pet. A WoW hardcore hunter Nuzlocke? What the heck's Nuzlocke? I don't know what Nuzlocke is. Glimmering cloak. Okay. Yeah, I've never played Pokemon. Yeah, there's a Lineage 2. In Lineage 2, there was this really annoying, and I mean really annoying thing where you tried to raise a dragon egg and you had to level with your dragon, and if he died, you could resurrect him, but you had to buy like a scroll to pet res, and it would like you only had so much time to res, and if you and I don't think the scrolls were super expensive, but they weren't cheap. It was just annoying, and you had to like it was tough. It was really annoying to level. Of course, nowadays, if I would have played Lineage 2, I probably wouldn't have had a problem with it. Back then, it was the first time I ever played, so I don't think my gameplay was as good back then. But trying to level up a dragon to a strider, and then from a strider to a fully fledged dragon you could ride was quite the challenge. Where's my let me put my I gotta put the gaming sleeve on, bro. Don't die, bro. Hold on a second. It's a little bit of a compression sleeve, but it also just the way my desk isn't deep enough. So what happens is my wrist rests on the edge of the desk, which kind of hurts after a while. So it's nice to have a slight bit of cloth to cover that part of my wrist. I know all the tricks. Oh! Oh! Man, Crystal Starfire Medallion. Massive loots. Look at that. I don't even have a necklace. 4 stamina, 4 intellect. I'll take that. Nice. And we and we leveled at the same time. You gotta go? Alright, Colby. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it, man. Have a good one, man. Happy Friday. Yeah, we got the level, we got the necklace. That's kind of a nice ding-a-ling. So, yeah, we're going into Beastmaster. We've already got most of the survival talents we want. We may go into improved Feign of Death later on in the build, but right now we're just pushing our pet. We're going to start turning our pet into an unstoppable beast. And surprisingly enough, when your pet gets really strong, and as you get stronger and get better gear, you'll both be able to kind of tank, because we'll be speccing into, you know, improved aspect of the monkeys. So our dodge rate's going to get pretty high. So we'll both be able to, and that's when you're going to be able to manage more mobs at once, because your pet can manage 1, you can manage 2, you can trap it. Yeah, you might be able to pull 4 mobs at once, really, because you can trap 1, have your pet deal with 2, and you deal with another. So all good things. I got way too many debuffs on me. Leeching my mana. No, my mana. Why is it? Come on over here, Brain Eater. My pet's having a hard time with this pathing there. Two more plague spreaders. Still getting some lagalicious response here from the server. I don't know what, or maybe it's my client. I don't know. Getting a little bit of lag. Hmm. Inventory full. What? Oh, we don't need that. Three stamina, 4. It's actually better. I mean, 8. Yeah, 3 stamina, 4 looks better. Who was messaging me? Hold on a second. Let me notification settings. All right, cool. Demons. Oh, hello. Yeah, Season of Discovery. Yeah, definitely. Season of Discovery pulled a ton of people out of hardcore. Like a lot. I mean, I'd say 60% of the people on this server left when SOD came out. Yeah, so it definitely, and then Blizzard's just dumb. I mean, Blizzard, like this, there's too many versions of World of Warcraft. They're going to be putting out, World of Warcraft. They're going to be putting out World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic too. So you're splitting people, and then they put out this stupid game mode, right? This bullshit crap, right? This plunder, whatever crap. Pirates of Magic and Mayhem, Plunderstorm, Yar. I mean, it's just dumb. It's like stop putting out you're dividing the player base. The player base has been divided like entirely too much, So it's just dumb. Blizzard's a bunch of idiots. I mean, it's all about money, though. It's all about the bottom line. It's like, how can we keep? They're just trying to keep people in the game. So they keep thinking if they come out with new, different modes, that people are going to be. It'll keep more people playing, But I tend to disagree with that. I think that's wrong. I think if they never would have released Season Discovery, I mean, if they never would have released Season Discovery, I'm sure that they wouldn't. Okay, Morladim, you're freaking pissing me off. Good God. What is this now? I don't know how to spell his stupid name. If they got rid of season discovery, I don't think there'd be as many people in. I don't think there'd be as many people playing WoW as there are now, but it wouldn't be a huge difference, I don't think. And you definitely would have a lot more people playing hardcore. What I would love to see Blizzard do, and of course they would never do this because they're a pack of fools, but they need. Well, I've been saying this for years. Like for years, I've been saying this. Get rid of every version of WoW, like every version. You should have. What I would love to see them do, and of course they would, like I said, they would never do this, but I would love to see them get rid of all the versions of WoW. The only thing that they would have would be retail WoW. That's it, just retail WoW. Maybe like classic, like vanilla. Um, yeah, but I mean, just get like pull back and and put your resources into developing like either an entirely new MMO based off of the World of Warcraft lore, or doing a classic plus version of WoW, which I think would be extremely successful. And I think we're going to see how successful that's going to be, because when Project Epic comes out, if it's good, it's going to be pretty successful. Look at how successful Turtle WoW was, you know. And the one thing you have to remember with Turtle WoW is it's on the 1.12 client, so it's on a crappy client, right? Like the client, and there's some charm to the original client, but you just don't have as much access to add-ons, and it doesn't look as good as this client. So if you look at, they finally launched a new server. Wow, and there really many people were when they launched it, and then it just died. So Turtle WoW currently still has 5,000 people playing it, 5,500 people playing it, right? And this is from the end of February, so they haven't done a census since then. But at its peak, it had 15,178 people playing it, which is insane for one server, right? And that just shows you the possibility of a Classic Plus server, like how popular it could be, you know. No, they couldn't. They could never pull it off. The problem is they'll never do anything really good. All they're doing is they're putting out different versions of WoW that don't take a ton of effort. Like, and you gotta remember, you gotta realize that, and I just found this out today because I didn't know. I didn't even know about this Plunder Storm shit. I didn't even hear about this until yesterday. It was the first time I even heard of it, because I hadn't played WoW in a few days. But this was done by the people who did that other, oh God, my brain. This is what happens when you get old. Your brain doesn't work anymore. But the people who made, shit. It's like a Fortnite battle royale. The people who made that battle royale with magic, I can't remember the name of it though, but I played it. I played that one when it was in early access. It was a battle royale based on like there were like magic users and stuff. The people who made that game, and it's a cool game, but it just never really took off. Blizzard hired them, and so it's not like Blizzard made this. They actually hired another gaming company. I don't know if they absorbed them into Blizzard, but this was made by somebody else, pretty much. No, not Fortnite. No, it's not Fortnite. No. Shit. Two people in the guild just died. One was level 41. Spellbreak. Spellbreak is what I'm trying to think of. So the people that made Spellbreak actually pretty much, from what I heard, I'm not, don't quote me on that, but that's what I heard, that they made this. So it's not like Blizzard, and I don't even know what Blizzard's full team is. I don't even, you know what I mean? I don't know how big their WoW team is nowadays, but it's so divided. It's like so ridiculously divided. Here, let's go, and I don't know how I split these windows up. How did I do that? How did I split these screens? What's the keybind? Oh, How do I merge? There we go. That kind of worked. So you've got WoW retail, right? You got WoW retail. You've got classic WoW, right? You got classic hardcore, right? Hardcore WoW. And you've got Season of Discovery. And pretty soon, soon we're going to have classic Cataclysm, right? And we have this stupid pirates, magic, and mayhem bullshit, right? So you have currently you have 5 versions. One, 2, 3, 4, like 5 versions of WoW. That's entirely too many, right? It's entirely too many. I want to see them basically just get rid of. I would say get rid of all of this shit. I would just say get rid of this entirely. Just get rid of this and just have retail. And then I would sunset this. They already have the plan to create like what 2 or 3 more expansions for this. I would sunset this. Sunset retail after the next 3 expansions. 3 X packs. And then I would sunset Classic WoW, probably. Sunset Classic WoW. And I would sunset this too. I would sunset all these. And I would develop either develop a new MMO, not based, which they would never do this, by the way. They won't do this. I would develop a new MMO, but I don't think they have the team in place to do it. Not based on the WoW universe. And the thing is, they're uniquely positioned to World of StarCraft. Hey, Destratos, man, how's it going? I mean, they are uniquely positioned to make an MMO that'll be successful only because of the people. I mean, there's so many people that have played WoW. So even if you don't like Blizzard, like I hate Blizzard right now as a company, I don't like them right now. I hate the things they've done. I hate the things they're doing. But that doesn't mean I don't like WoW. I mean, I love World of Warcraft, right? And if they were to come out with something new, they have the marketing ability and they have the footprint. They have that footprint of people know them and people would pay attention. If they release something, people take notice. Because there's a lot of content creators around that know that if they put something, let's not kid yourselves. Content creators in today's gaming world drive the player base. Content creators are massive. They are, and that's why these video game companies hire these content creators. Why do you think, like, if you guys, I don't know if you noticed, but if you look at this, right? If you go here and click on this, what does it say? Where was it at? There was a thing on it. Let's games, home. There was a video. There was a video on this, and when you watch the video, in the video it was listing. Here's the video. In this video, it's listing off YouTubers and streamers that are going to play the game, right? Like, and this one doesn't have it. No, this one doesn't have it. But I just watched a video earlier, and in their video, they were saying, "Hey, Venruki's going to play it, and this person's going to play it, and this person's going to play it. Check out this game with 10." And like, look, here's even freaking like, what's his name? Zaryu, my first plunder storm. So content creators drive games in today's world. So, and content creators aren't stupid. They know to go where the viewers are. And that's why people are playing Dragon's Dogma 2 right now, because it just released, released yesterday, I think, was the release of Dragon's Dogma 2. So a lot of people are playing Dragon's Dogma 2 because they know there's going to be a lot of people watching. And Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be probably one of the better games of the year. And so what I'm saying is Blizzard has the ear of the streamers. So, you know what I mean? And people want a good MMO. The problem is most people don't trust Blizzard, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't give Blizzard a chance. If Blizzard comes out with a brand new MMO, and if they do a good job and they put out some advertisement for it and some videos, hyping it up, it would definitely get a lot of people interested. And I would be one of them, because you can't not deny that Blizzard has in the past made very good video games. So, and there's still people at Blizzard who know how to make good games, but unfortunately a lot of people are gone. So, but anyways, back to what I was talking about is, if they really want to do something if they want to do something good for the gamers, which of course I don't think they do, get rid of, I would sunset all these. I would get rid of all the versions of WoW. I'd sunset the ones that are out there, and I would develop a new MMO based not on the WoW universe, or what I would do. This is option A, which is the most radical. Option A, right? Option A. This is like the most radical thing they could do, right? Would be to basically sunset WoW and just create a new MMO and go that route and say, we're done with the WoW, let's go somewhere. Of course, they'll never do that because WoW is their cash cow and it's their baby. And then the next option would be, which I don't think they'll do either. Option B is to, come on, Visual Studio Code, you're being a butt, is to leave, here. Oh, come on. Oh, my God. No, I don't want to search. Oh my God. I haven't used Visual Studio Code. What am I? I'm forgetting how to use Visual Studio Code. It's been too long since I've used it. Like literally like a couple weeks and I'm already forgetting. Damn it. Here, let's just do it down here. Okay, I don't want. Here we go. All right, I'll get rid of that issue. So, the option B would basically be to leave, keep doing WoW retail. So WoW retail, keep this going, keep this going, do whatever bullshit expansions. Keep WoW classic going, maybe keep classic going. Like whatever version of classic. Just one version though, just one version. So when WoW Cataclysm Classic comes out, I would like, this would piss off a lot of people, but if WoW, you kind of almost have to leave Vanilla Classic around because people like it so much. But it would be, so we'll say option B, kill Classic WoW, kill Vanilla. And so you only have one version of Classic, which is the current one. So once they released Cataclysm, that would be the only version. Now, I guess, again, I don't think they would ever do this, and I think this would piss off a lot of people. That would be option B, and then, of course, option C would just basically be the same thing, except in option C, you would leave Vanilla there, right? You would still leave Vanilla there. Let's get this guy in the corner. So in option C, you would have WoW Retail, keep it going, and you still have WoW Classic, the vanilla version, right? And you would have whatever other, you'd have Cataclysm. But in both of these options, you would develop Classic Plus, right? Develop Classic Plus. So these are the other options, right? Develop Classic Plus. What I would like to see them do is option A, which I don't think they'll ever do. Option C, I think, is the one that they could do, because I think it wouldn't be too bad. They could because it doesn't take too much to keep Vanilla going and Cataclysm going, because these are games that already existed. Retail, they've got a team that works on retail, but put a team together that develops a Classic Plus version. Just think of like how popular Turtle WoW is. There's so many people that want a Classic Plus. And Classic Plus would be, you have the vanilla game, and then after people clear all the content vanilla, what you do is you just add new stuff. Turtle WoW has over like 1,000 brand new quests. Turtle WoW has some different races you can play. They've got the High Elf, they've got the Goblin. So what you do is Classic Plus, all it is it's basically vanilla, plus you add maybe, some new interesting races. You fix some of the issues that vanilla has. Most notably, Paladins have no Daunt, and Paladins need more attacks. You're basically auto attacking for like 30 levels. Paladins need more skills. And then another thing that would be really huge is fix Melee Hunter. There is a huge amount of people that would love to see a working version of a Melee Hunter in vanilla. So fix Melee Hunter, and this was really easy to do with the Melee Hunter. All you got to do is add. You already have stuff that's in there. Add Harpoon into the game, and add Disengage. That throws you back, right? Throws you back. So you have that in-out play. So you have the melee / ranged in-out play style. But the ranged isn't so much like like it's kind of like Battle for Azeroth. If you guys have ever played Battle for Azeroth, kind of the ranged survival hunter, you're not really using a bow. Your basically your main weapon is like a staff. But you do have ranged abilities because they give you like a poison dart. So it's like when you use the poison dart, it's like your character pulls out kind of like this miniature crossbow from her waist and shoots like a poison dart. But of course, it's not a real miniature crossbow that's equipped. So it's just a skill that you have. So to me, that's still pretty much a melee hunter because you're not equipping a ranged weapon. You're not shooting projectiles. You have a ranged ability, but think of it as more just like a ranged skill. Like if I picked up a rock, if I'm a melee hunter and I picked a rock up off the ground and threw somebody, I wouldn't call myself a ranged damage dealer. I mean? Primarily most of your damage is melee. So I think fixing melee would go a long ways towards getting a lot of people wanting to play the game because I think melee is huge. A lot of people like the idea, and I'm one of them, of course. We like the idea of melee hunters. So fix the issue, some of the issues vanilla has, like you said, Gene. Just add new loot tables with better prefixes. What do you mean by better prefixes? What do you mean by better prefixes? Yeah, they can still do good videos, and they're good with marketing. Blizzard still is really good with marketing, but you got to get rid of. The other thing that you need to do is, get rid of. You got to get rid of the testing server. Get rid of the PTR. PTR should never exist. This should never exist. Do internal testing with, people who know the game. Or since most at Blizzard are morons, then just hire some skilled PvPers and PV, raiders and PvE raiders to come on site, and and test for you. So, but you need. You need to get rid of the PTR because the PTR lets people know what the content is before it's even released to the general public, and I've always hated that. I've always thought it's stupid, it's dumb, it should never be there. But anyways, so basically, vanilla classic, develop like a classic plus, where basically you have some of the vanilla content that we have now, but add in some new, add in the zones, and you don't have to add entirely new zones. You just use the existing ones because if you go in World of Warcraft. And you look at, for example, you look here, there's plenty of areas on the existing maps to add stuff. Like you can see here, the landing strip doesn't really have anything. You can add stuff there. You've got this whole empty spot over here. You can add stuff. If you go into like any zone, like Searing Gorge, you can see there's a lot of just mountainous areas here that are basically devoid of anything. There's nothing in these regions. You can carve these out and add stuff. You can carve this out and add stuff. You can carve this out and add stuff. If you go here, same thing. There's some mountains here. That there's nothing really here. You can carve this out, add stuff, carve this out, add stuff. Almost every map, same thing here. There's this huge section, which obviously originally when the vanilla was worked on, it was meant to be something, but it never got finished. Just the way it's created, there's just no way this wasn't not meant to be something. And of course, Turtle WoW has implemented all kinds of stuff over here, and it's one of my favorite zones in Turtle WoW. So, but what I'm saying is you don't have to like add new zones. The zones are already there. You just have to go into them and change them and add stuff to them. Because there's plenty of room on these existing maps to actually add new content to them. And then once you exhaust all of that, then you could implement. And so you basically have Classic Plus with the new quests and some new reworked zones and some new dungeons and some new races. And you fix some of the classes, and then you come out with an expansion for the Classic Plus. And all the expansion does is it might add maybe a new continent or something, but it's still like level 60. You don't really increase the level. You don't increase the level cap. Keep the level cap where it's at. So what you get is, you could even go the Guild Wars 2 route. What you get is maybe some new specializations. So think about in World of Warcraft, like when I go to my hunter, I've got 3 different talent trees. So what Guild Wars 2 did, which was really cool, is on a new expansion, you just get a different talent tree. You say, okay, we've got Beast Mastery, Marksmanship, Survival. Okay, well now we've got Blood. I don't know, what would it be? We got Beast Mastery, Marksmanship, Survival. How about Lone Wolf or something? Lone Wolf tree, where you don't have a pet and you're just, you're more powerful, but you don't have a pet, or maybe you have another tree where it's, where you're like, I don't know, like a trapper or something, or expert hunter, or expert trapper or something. You know what I mean? Like, so you can create expansions that add entirely new talent trees to the characters. And which would add a completely different playstyle, but doesn't change the level cap. The level cap's still the same. The dungeons are still the same. It's just a matter of new abilities, because we saw how popular Season of Discovery was. Well, the reason Season of Discovery is popular is because people like new and interesting ways to build their characters with their talents, right? So anyway, so that to me, that's what Blizzard should be working on is Classic Plus. And I think and get rid of all the other versions of the game. And if they do Classic Plus and it's popular, then you need to kill off these other ones. Because if you have Classic Plus and it's really good, who the fuck wants to play Classic? I'm not lying. I've played WoW since it came out. I've played WoW since beta in 2004. If they came out with Classic Plus and it was really good, because it's already going to have all the vanilla content from vanilla. The content's still there. You'll still have the quests. Most of the quests from the original vanilla. They're still going to be there. So you don't need vanilla anymore. You don't need this. Because Classic Plus is still going to have, 80% of that content. It's just going to have additional content and new stuff. So you can get rid of this. You can work on, you can still keep retail going if you want, as long as you want. Who cares? Because I'm not going to play it. I don't give a shit about it. And then Cataclysm Classic, if you want to release these versions of Classic, that's fine. But just keep it to one, like only one. And honestly, if you developed a Classic Plus and it was good, nobody would play Cataclysm Classic. I mean, not very many people would play it. It would be dead. So, but that's what they should do. I think that's the easiest thing they can do to make something that would be really that would give Blizzard a positive. People would be happy with them. They'd say, "Hey, wow, they actually did something that the community really wants." Because right now they're not really. I mean, who the fuck asked for this? I mean, who the fuck asked for, asked for this bullshit? I never even heard of this Plunderstorm shit. Like, I never even heard of it until yesterday. That was the first time I heard of it. So who even asked for that shit? They're just like, well, Fortnite's really popular, so let's make some sort of battle royale type game just because Fortnite's popular. I mean, that's stupid. You're an MMO. There's an old lesson that some companies have to learn, right? And there's companies that are out there that become really popular and really like they put out a product, right? And the product's massive and huge. And did we just get an upgrade? Agility stamina, strength stamina. Oh man, that's close. So a company, let's just give you an example. Let's say a company makes bowling shoes, right? And their whole company revolves around the fact that they make the best bowling shoes in the world, and every bowling alley wants to use their bowling shoes, right? Well, then they've already got the market cornered. They're making money. Everybody, when they go to buy a pair of bowling shoes, they always say, we're going to buy Spitz bowling shoes because they're the best bowling shoes in the world. They've got their market. But then they get greedy and they say, you know what? We're making all this money, but we've kind of done the most thing we can do with these shoes, so let's do something else. Let's go make bowling shirts and bowling balls. But they're not very good at making bowling balls, and they're not very good at, the shirts they make aren't that great, and nobody's really buying them, and they've sunk so much of their resources into making the bowling balls, into making the shirts, that their quality of their shoes are slipping, right? They're slipping. Now, people are starting to say, you know what, I don't like their shoes so much anymore, that the quality's not as good. And so people aren't really buying their bowling balls. People aren't really buying their shirts because they're good, but they're not the best. And their shoes that were the best are no longer the best. So now this company's starting to lose money in every sector. That's World of Warcraft, right? That's World of Warcraft. They had a great game, but they keep trying to make all these different variations, right? And they've lost the focus of what they were really, really good at, which was making something that players really wanted to play. They lost the passion. And that's pretty common in the business industry. It's very common. And the only way you're going to turn it around is it'll never happen, because let's face it, Activision is the one controlling the money, and they don't want to allow them to do what I want them to do, So, all this conversation is kind of a moot conversation because I just don't think it'll ever happen. Now, Classic Plus could happen. The only way that a lot of these things would happen is if we as players just don't play their game and just say, fuck you, I'm not going to play any of your games because they suck. And then Blizzard's going to have, well, now we got to put something out that's actually good, because if it's not good, the players aren't going to play our game, Is he going to throw down through the floor? I don't think so. No, I didn't think so. Oh, yeah. All right, bastard. Yeah, I think there aren't that many good drops for some. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go back and look. So, like in Classic, there aren't that many good drops for some specs. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, a lot of the drops weren't very specialized. Like Protection Paladin, like especially low level stuff. Like for Protection Paladin, what you really want is you want stamina, spell power, probably intellect. You want strength, stamina, spell power, intellect. Those are going to be your biggest stats for like a Protection Paladin. But people don't really prioritize strength too much because you just, if you don't have any mana, you can't do anything. And if you don't have enough spell power, you can't get enough threats, right? Because you don't have a taunt. So you can fix all of that just by giving paladins a taunt. But let's say paladins had a taunt. You still would like to see drops for paladins that are basically plate items that have spell power, intellect, and strength. And you just don't see that, especially at low level, right? Like you might see it at later levels. So it would be nice to see low level gear. And it doesn't. The other thing that Blizzard could do, and let me add this to my. I don't know if I have a working. I don't think I do. And I already forgot it, didn't I? Because I was thinking about. Oh shit! Did I forget what I was going to say already? Oh no! Thank God. So one of the ideas that I've always said that I always come up with great ideas for MMOs, but I always forget them because I don't write them down. And I've come up with so many amazing ideas. I've come up with ideas that I thought no one's ever come up with this idea, which I know is not true because it's hard to come up with stuff that people haven't come up with. But I've actually come up with ideas that I thought were so groundbreaking. And I mean, this shit hits me when I'm in bed. I'll be sleeping, and I'll wake up and say, that's a great idea for an MMO, because I've played MMOs too long. I played MMOs since 2002. But one of the things that is really a simple one, and I'm sure lots of people have thought of this, is to make low-level gear sets, right? Is to like make low-level armor sets. Armor sets are really cool. We all know that, right? We all know that armor sets are amazing. And you think of like PvP sets and some of the goals of certain players building up their PvP gear for battlegrounds or for arenas to get like 4 items because you get that 4-item bonus. That's always really powerful. Like, your rogue restores energy sometimes with his Sinister Strike with that 4-set bonus. But what would be really cool is to add more unique bonuses at lower levels. So think about this. Think about adding in a leather set that's a gray set that's called like the set of the beggar, right? And the more of the pieces you equip, the better your stealth level becomes, because you just look like a beggar and people just disregard you entirely. Like if they see you, like, it's just some beggar. I don't have to worry about that guy. So it like dramatically increases like your stealth level. So think about a rogue who's level 60 in this like low level set of the beggar, that where he could basically stealth past another level 60 rogue and walk right past him, and the guy would never see him, because his stealth level would just be too high. Or if he's going into a dungeon and he throws that set on, and he could stealth past mobs, all the mobs in even a higher level dungeon, where the mobs are like 5 levels higher, and they still can't see him, because he's wearing his amazing set of the beggar. I mean, just stupid, right? But fun stuff. Put in like low level, like Paladin, put in like a plate or like a mail set that that if you get all of the items, your armor is like golden, like this golden, like beat up old set, but there's like a really cool story to it. Like it used to be worn by some famous like paladin, and you have to go on these long quests to discover the pieces. And if you get all the sets, your armor like has a faint glow to it, but it's only like a level 20 armor set. Imagine how many people at level 20 would want to go all this really interesting long questing chains to get all of these items, to have this really cool, like, and it would be a really cool skin. It would look cool. The armor would be kind of dented in places and maybe have scars and scratches and dings in it. But then if you had all the pieces, there'd be like this faint shimmering glow that just kind of surrounded your character. You know what I mean? Just those things would be so awesome for an MMO, right? And most of my ideas revolve around stuff during leveling, because to me, the most fun of an MMO is the leveling, right? I don't care about level 60, I don't care about, what do they call those raids? Like the different rating tiers in retail? What do they call? I can't remember. Like you have to, and you get like those stupid tokens so that you can go into the higher level raids. It's just stupid. So I don't care about that shit. I could care less. I don't want to go into a 40-man group and have to spend 3 hours trying to get something done and have the same noob fucking die and wipe the raid. And I don't want to do that. I don't care about that. To me, I'm more into like the fantasy aspect of it, like the Dungeons and Dragons aspect of it. I want to see really cool stories and really cool, long, lengthy quest chains and really difficult things to discover in the game that are hard to find out, hard to achieve, like really hard to achieve, and sometimes require like massive amounts of like cooperative play. Yeah, Mythic Plus, I don't give a shit about Mythic Plus, and they require like cooperative play. You know what I mean? Oh, Zalcini! So that stuff I think is just so much more cool. But Blizzard will never do it. Now Zalson knows when I retire, and I tell my wife this sometimes, that when I retire, one of the things I might do in my retirement is just learn how to make an MMO in fucking Unreal Engine 5 or 6 or whatever version that is when it comes out, right? And anyone on the stream, I'm gonna start. I'm trying to put all my money in crypto right now, in Bitcoin, because the only way I'm ever going to be rich is if I can get enough Bitcoin. Because there's no other way. Like any money I put into like my 401k, it doesn't give me dick, man. And if I put money in a CD, 5% return, that doesn't give me shit, man. I'm 54 years old. What is that going to give me in 20 years? Nothing. So Bitcoin is set to probably really skyrocket over the next 5 years. So you're such a peasant. So yeah, so anybody on the stream, you want to donate money to my stream, know that it's going straight to Bitcoin, man. Any donations I get are going straight to Bitcoin. Anything. I've spent a lot of time the last 3 weeks in really researching Bitcoin and just researching the markets, and I've put a lot of money in Bitcoin already, and I want to put more into it, but my wife won't let me. My wife won't let me. Yeah, so Zalson, but see, Zalson, you'd wear that. Think about that, Zalson. If there was like a leather set that was like the set of the peasant or something that increased your stealth level, fucking Zalson would be all about that. He's gonna creep my rogue. Or what about a set for a mage that gave you like a different ability? Think about that. What about certain sets that gave you that if you wore every item in the set, you actually gained a new ability? Right? How awesome would that be? To me, MMOs should be all about this. Should be all about the story, the exploration, and the builds. Because let's face it, the most enjoyable aspect of playing an MMO is playing around with your builds. Is figuring out new and interesting things to do with your builds. That's one of the most fun aspects. And then the other fun aspect is if you can pull it off. It's hard to do, but if you can pull off a really great story and really good lore and a really really good and cool, unique kind of questing, and I don't like quests. I'm sick of quests. So more like dynamic world content that requires cooperative play. You know what I mean? Set bonuses are really cool. Yeah, well, like a set bonus, they'd actually give you a new ability. Like, look, for example, you've got a leather set that's like enchanted. Well, if you guys ever saw the movie, remember the movie with Benedict Cumberbatch, the Doctor Strange. Remember in one part of the Doctor Strange, and he was learning about how to become a sorcerer supreme or whatever. The one guy was wearing these boots that allowed to almost walk across the air, right? Think about something like that. Let's say you're a rogue and you've got this set that drastically reduces the weight of your character, such that you can literally do like some sort of crazy like double jump, right? So double jump exists in retail. They actually added a double jump, believe it or not, in retail in Ashran, in the PvP zone Ashran. There was an item you picked up that gave you double jump. So Blizzard had an animation in there that allowed you to jump and then jump again, which was super cool, by the way. Like, super cool. So I'll show it to you, actually. Come on, you can do it. So now watch, my character's going to double jump. It's right here. See this 15-minute buff with the green foot? Come on, girl, you can do it. Jump. Jump. Actually, triple jump. Triple jump. Do you see that? I jumped like 3 times in the air. Let me rewind. I know I do more of them earlier on. Okay, jump, jump, double jump. See, double jump. So that is definitely a zone-based ability, right? But so what I'm saying is you could add a set bonus where if you had this gear, what it did is it drastically reduced the weight. Like the lore around it would the tooltip would say, set bonus like 4 out of 5 drastically reduces the rogue's weight and allows them to double jump, right? So then you would gain an ability in your spell book that would be based on, then it would only appear if you had the 4 set bonus equipped. And you would have a double jump. I mean, imagine how cool that would be. And these are simple things. They're not super difficult. It doesn't take a genius to come up with this shit, man. And I used to come up with this stuff all the time, Zulz, and I'd come up with these abilities, these things all the time. Like, oh man, we could add this, we could add this, all these cool things. I came up with stuff. I came up with something once when I was sleeping, and I woke up, and I dreamt about it, and it was like groundbreaking. It was like, I'd never heard of this in an MMO, and it would be amazing. And of course, I didn't write it down, and now I fucking can't remember what it was. But it was groundbreaking. It was like, this shit would have broke the game. I would have been so good. And now I can't remember what it was. When I was in high school, and I've always dreamt of like crazy, because I've always played Dungeons and Dragons when I was a little kid. I've always dreamt of crazy stuff. I've always had like really bizarre, crazy dreams. I used to keep a notebook under my bed when I was in high school. And when I'd wake up with these crazy dreams, and I'd write them down. And I remember one time I had a dream, and it was like everybody, like it was like a movie, and people were going about their business. It was like sci-fi in the future. And the whole part of the dream is I was moving through the dream, and and I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't figure it out. But at the end of the dream, I ended up getting into a fight with somebody. Hey guys, quit fighting. The cats are fighting. And but at the end, I was fighting somebody. I knocked somebody over, and when their arm hit like something, it cut their arm open, and inside their arm, they were a robot. And the whole point of the dream was that I knew something was off, and what it was is that I was the only real person. Everybody else was a fucking robot. Those are the kind of dreams I used to have, right? Yeah, it's a good idea if you're really a creative person and you like to. But anyways, but there was one idea that I came up with. And the only thing I can remember about the idea is it had something to do with promoting a heavy amount of cooperative play with players, right? I would say that the items that item would be class restricted, Zolson. So that's specific to the rogue, because it's that one was specific to the rogue, right? So I would definitely say that some of them would be. I would say a lot of them that add skills would be class specific, because I don't want everybody to have double jump. Like, to me, it's like that would have just been a rogue thing. Because I feel like if everybody had it, then everybody would want it, and it would be kind of silly in PvP if everybody's double jumping around, And it might be one of those things too where maybe we don't allow it in PvP and it maybe only allow it in PvE. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that you have to work out, right? But the whole point of it is there's so many cool things you can do that don't require you to put out new expansions with tons of new dungeons. And, to me, the best way to enhance like an MMO in today's world, because so many MMOs that release are just shitty. They're just shitty. They're cash grabs. They put in the basic systems that they think people want. There's no innovation. Like, nobody's putting stuff in that's how do you say that word without saying innovation? Damn it. This is one of those words that I can't pronounce correctly, which is very few words that I can't pronounce. Innovative. Well, it's innovative, but there's a way to say it, a different way to say it that I can't remember. Damn it! It's innovative, but there's nobody's innovating, right? Nobody's innovating. And I guess that's it, innovating. But nobody's really innovating, and nobody's coming up with interesting stuff. And it's just really sad, because it's not difficult. Coming up with these things are not difficult. Get me in a room with some other creative people, and I guarantee you I could come up with a list of like 100 different... I could probably come up with a list of 200 different things that aren't World of Warcraft that could be added to World of Warcraft that would make it better than it is now, But some of the major problems with MMOs is that they allow too much single player. They allow for too much toxicity because of the fact that it's single player. Whenever you have a game that's single player that doesn't require the help of others, then you don't communicate. You don't talk to other people because you don't need their help. If I don't need your help to complete quests and complete dungeons and to do stuff, then why do I need you? And then it promotes people of becoming elitists because they're thinking, well, I can do everything solo and you can do everything solo, but I can do it better than you can. Because it's everything about games is competitive, right? People always want to be competitive, you know? And so how do you be competitive? There's ways to make it competitive in a good way. Like in that private server Ascension WoW, remember Zolson Ascension WoW had this one cool thing that was a competitive thing where basically you could level 0 to 60 and every time you did it, you got like a rank. I can't remember what they were called, those also, but there were like these ranks to it or something. I think they were called like legacies or something. It was like your legacy or something. I can't remember what it's called. But they had a leaderboard. They had a website where you could go up and look, and it ranked people on how many times they'd leveled from 1 to 60 successfully. And so that's a very non-toxic way to have a competition. So there's ways you can make competitions without creating a toxic environment, is all I'm trying to get at. But anyways, we kind of got off one of my big tangents, which I like to get off on. Oh, he must have resisted that trap. I was seeing if I could feign death him into a freezing trap to interrupt his heal, but it looked like when I feigned death, he was going to do the heal. But when I feigned death, for some reason, it caused him to change his spell, I think, and he went to a shadow ball. So I guess it still worked. He didn't do his heal, so. But let's get out of here because let's just do a fun little experiment. So we don't have that many people on the stream right now, unfortunately. But this is something I've been wanting to do. I've actually wanted to. Of course, this is going to slow down my level. I don't think there's any way I'm going to get to 60 before Project Epic comes out. Let's go ahead and grab some scrolls real quick. I think how much money? I only have 4 gold. I think I need to go on a massive leather skinning extravaganza just to make money, and then once I have a certain amount of gold, we can respec into alchemy and. Oh, no scrolls? What? So let's do something, right? So we've got different expansions. I should already have a document of this somewhere, but let's say so ideas for MMOs, right? Now what is it? Control. What is the shortcut for that? I can't believe I cannot remember the shortcut for this. It's pissing me off. Crap, it's gonna drive me nuts. Oh, I didn't know you could that it listed this way. It was just kind of cool. Okay. Anyway, so what things could we add? Additions to MMOs to make them better. I need to create like a standing document for this, but we talked about lower level sets that can give additional abilities. A beggar set for rogue that increases stealth dramatically. A light rogue set that reduces their overall weight, allowing for a new ability, double jump. What other things? And the other things, you could categorize these things into different categories. I mean, I think progression is obviously a big one, right? You know what we should do? We should just put it in Discord. Not now, but it'd be better if we put it in Discord. But there's progression-based stuff, right? I mean, I think progression is one of the biggest ways that MMOs can be improved. What is the? Okay, what did I just do? What did I just do? What is this? A macros? Okay, I'm really getting pissed that I can't remember the keybind for this. Quick go file. It's got to be Control-Shift-B. Okay, well, that works. Anyways. So, like progression, like in an MMO, how can we improve MMOs, like progression-wise? How can we make them better? I think the easiest way to figure out how to make an MMO better as far as progression is to figure out, well, what's wrong? Like, when you guys play an MMO, what do you think is wrong about the progression? Is it? I mean, what are things that make progression bad, right? I think you have to ask that question. And I think a lot, and it's going to be different for different people too. So like one thing that could be bad for one person could be good for someone else. Like, so some people don't like slow progression. So what are things that make progression bad? Leveling is too slow. The funny part is this could be good for some people, right? So if I go and say, what are things that make progression good? Leveling is slow. Because there's benefits to leveling being slow. So this one has to have like a caveat, right? So if leveling is slow, to make that a good thing, there has to be side effects of that, right? And to me, side effects of leveling being slow is that you focus on other things. Leveling is slow, which causes the player to focus not on leveling, but on other aspects of the game. And then, and then you have to ask yourself, well, what are the other aspects of the game? What are the other aspects of the game that are going to make the player have fun, right? And again, and these vary, right? But I think if you add enough stuff into the game, players as MMO players can overlook things they don't like to get to the things they do like. It's really that, that checklist, right? Like, good. It's like the lazy peon, right? Lazy peon, if you guys know that YouTuber, where he does like the good and bad. That's really what it is. So you have like what's good, what's good, what's bad, and if there's like 10 good things and only 3 bad things, well, then overall people are like, oh, it's good, right? You said should be challenging yet fun with a rewarding feeling to doing exactly. And actually, you brought up a great point. What about vanilla separates vanilla from some of the other versions of WoW that makes it fun? Part of that is the fact that there's elite quests in the zone. So like if you're in Lakeshire, how many times do you see in vanilla WoW where people saying looking for group for elite quest, looking for group for elite quest? That's a good thing. Anytime you see people looking for a group, that fosters a good community because they're having to work with other players to do something. So, what are things that make progression good? Teamwork, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. Makes the dream work, baby. So, and again, every one of these things, there's caveats to it, and there's like bullet points, So it's almost like we need to do this. Actually, a better way to do this, and this is what we should be doing. This is in Google Docs because it'll be under my drive. So let's go Google. And I actually might have this already, right? All right, so if we go to Google Drive, where's Google Drive? I don't know. Drive. Ah, that's out of my cache. My Google Drive usually just comes right up. No! Well, for Christ's sake. All right, so I've got lots of stuff on my channel, right? Priest downranking, nature season of discovery. Oh, aces, drivers. I got all kinds of stuff on my channel. So you can see a lot of my stuff is already based on MMO stuff. But let's create a new document. Let's go to my drive. Let's go to the WoW folder, right? We've already got a WoW folder here. AoE Protection Pattern Leveling Guide by me. Thank you very much. So we're going to say Google Docs, and we're going to say, blank document. Okay. What is this crap? All right. So we know we're talking about, let's just copy some of this stuff. So progression. What are the things that make progression bad? Leveling is too slow, right? Don't we have right? Leveling is slow. So let's go back to what are the things that make progression bad? Leveling is too slow. That's a possibility. I mean, it might, like I said, it might not be for everybody. But another thing that would be bad is, and you give me some other things that makes progression bad. I would say, well, obviously boring, but that's not. We need to be more specific than that. Let's just say not enough variety, right? One of the problems with a lot of MMOs with progression is there's not enough variety in how you progress. Like maybe all you can do to progress is do quests, right? The other thing is it's too easy, right? Too easy. And this is a big one. We see it all the time in MMOs where progression is just too easy, right? Too easy. What are other things that make progression bad? So not enough ways or systems, right? Too easy, not rewarding enough, right? So you brought up a point, not rewarding enough. So progression should feel rewarding. So too easy, not rewarding enough, and not impactful. And what I might mean by not impactful is that, let's say you're progressing, but you're not really seeing that the rewards they're giving you are actually increasing your strength in any kind of a noticeable way. Like one of the coolest things about leveling up a character is you get a new ability and instantly you're like, oh my God, now I'm doing a lot more damage. It's more impactful. And that becomes something that people look forward to. Like, oh, I know that at level 10 I get this. Like for a hunter, my melee hunter, man, I get I get to level 30, I get feign death. Now I can feign death in the middle of a dungeon and drop a trap down. That's way more damage for me. My damage just went up like 20% in one dungeon run. Because of feign death, my overall damage in that dungeon run is going to go up like 20% from the dungeon run where I didn't have feign death. So that's impactful. You know? Yeah, 10. At 10, you get a pet. So, you know, what are things that make progression bad? Leveling's too slow, not enough variety, or systems too easy, not worrying enough, not impactful. What else? What else, though? Another thing, I think it's repetitive, right? Too repetitive. You know, boring quests, right? Boring quests, redundant, repetitive systems. And we see this all the time, you know? Gated systems, right? So we see this in retail a lot, where your progression in like a new expansion is based off these systems that gate you. Oh, well, you can't do this until you complete this storyline, which not necessarily a bad thing, but the systems can be really, they can be gated. Like they can say, well, you have to do these daily quests, and you can only do so many every day. Well, that's a gated system. Now I'm locked into where I can only do so much progression per day. Well, that's bad. I don't think anybody likes that. There are people that want to no-life the game. Fucking let them no-life the game. If you want to no-life the game to get good, do it. Anyways, I got to go check on my dog. I'll be right back. I just want to make sure he's not getting up to something he shouldn't be getting up to. All right, so yeah, we talked about feels like a chore. Too much stuff to do can also be. Yeah, I think too many things in an MMO can be bad, especially here. Hold on a second. We're gonna do a different musical, something that's a little less. I think too many systems. I think that's a good one. I think one thing that I hate to see in MMOs, and it happens all the time, is when an MMO comes out, typically they don't have as many systems as they do, as opposed to, in relation to 10 years down the road. So if you look at a game like Black Desert, it's got so many systems, right? And then after about 10 years, it's got a lot more systems. Same thing with World of Warcraft. It's got so many systems in vanilla. By the time you get to current, like Dragonflight, there's a lot more systems. So you have to be really careful about continuing to add to the game because it becomes too much, Around B, what franchise that World of Warcraft rumors is end? Terry, I'm not quite sure what you're saying, but I think, too many systems is a bad thing. And, so too many systems. And we're still just talking about mostly progression, And what are the things that make progression bad? Too many systems, leveling is too slow, not enough variety. so you can have too few. So, not enough variety or systems, or too many, right? So we can get rid of this one. And too much solo content, I think. I think that's a big one for me. I mean, I end up playing solo a lot just because the game doesn't force me to play with other people, and I don't. I can like not play with other people, which I can fall into a solo mindset, which is kind of the way I like to play the game, but I kind of don't want to play the game like that way. I like to play with. Did I just get a buff? Why didn't I get it? Oh, I did get it. It's just, for whatever reason, it's showing up as a... Oh, nice. We got the rallying cry of the Dragon Slayer. Yeah, we got some scrolls! Cool thing about melee hunter is you can use every scroll. Every scroll is usable for you and your pet, pretty much. Well, your pet doesn't need... Let's log out so we don't lose our time on our buff. So, what else did we have? We had in the other one. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about character progression. More secondary, more life. I think more life skills would be... Oh, that makes him bad. I call them life skills. Yeah, I mean, I call them life skills. And so when I'm thinking of like life skills, so when you think of progression in World of Warcraft, for example, like you can only have 2 professions, right? So in some games though, like Final Fantasy 14, you can have, every profession if you want, but you can only, like, in some MMOs what they do is they'll say, well, you can have every profession, but you can only get to like the highest proficiency in maybe one of them. So there's a lot of different ways you can approach professions, but what I would like to see is more life skills, which if you kind of think of a game like Skyrim, for example, like you can pretty much, basically the more you do something, the better you get at it. So I would like to see more life skills, stuff like, maybe like lock picking, I mean, we have lock picking, I guess. Maybe something like, bandage. I guess we have bandages. Shit. How about campfires or trapping, for non-hunters. So, like, let's say you're out in the middle of the woods, you're out in an MMO, and you're like, well, I don't have any food, and I also, one of the things I would like to see, actually, so let's get this out of here. This really doesn't apply to this. These are like progression. Let's go into a section we're just going to call, new systems, or just new ideas to make new ideas for MMOs, or new systems, just new ideas, I guess. We'll just call it new ideas, because I have a lot of new ideas, right, for MMOs. And I think one of the ones that, a lot of these things they're not new. I mean, we see them in different MMOs, but I definitely am a huge fan of day-night cycle affects the world, right? So day-night cycle affects the world. At daytime monsters, if I could type, daytime monsters are less dangerous, less raids, less encounters, right, in general. One thing we don't have is nighttime one word? I don't think so. Nighttime. So we don't have a lot of stuff like Dungeons & Dragons, because when you play Dungeons & Dragons, like one of the things you do in D&D a lot as a game master is that when you're walking through the forest in the middle of the night, the chance that you're going to get set upon by some sort of dangerous creature is higher, because dangerous creatures tend to hunt at night. Wolves and stuff see better at night than humans do. So one thing we don't have in MMOs too much is a lot of random type stuff. That's just purely like AI random, like RNG based random. And the thing is with AI and with where we're going with AI, we're going to be able to add this stuff to MMOs. So this is stuff that should be easy to do, right? So what I'm talking about, and also what I would like to see, and what some people don't like too much is a lot of people don't like a lot of people like fast travel. Okay, I'm not a fan of fast travel. I've never been a fan of fast travel, and I see people like Wolf FPS Gaming or Wolf Heart, whatever, what is his YouTube channel? But I see these guys doing videos on games, and they talk about, oh, I didn't like, and I don't want to say necessarily that he said this because I actually like his channel. Um, ah, I'm talking about Wolfhard FPS. I know he was covering, Dragon's Dogma today, right? He did Dragon's Dogma. But a lot of the guys that cover like RPGs, you'll see him say stuff like, "Oh, you didn't get fast travel to a certain level," or there wasn't enough fast travel, it's too slow to move around the world." I actually like that. I think the world should be very difficult to traverse, and I think one of the cool progression things that would be in the game is that kind of like how Black Desert did. When Black Desert first came out, you didn't have a horse, right? You didn't when you move around the world, it was pretty slow, and you had to just run on foot, and it was really cool because in Black Desert, the more you ran, the better your stamina got, and you could run further distances. So the more you ran, you actually were skilling up your running ability. You're actually skilling up your fitness, which I thought was a great idea, right? So systems that so here, systems that make slow travel appealing. Okay? Fitness, crafting based movement, whatever. So I would like to see, yeah, and I would like to see, I like slow travel, but add stuff into the game that makes slow travel more appealing. Like, so if you run around between the villages, you skill up your fitness, and then you start to run faster. You start to be able to run, because basically you can only run so far until you get tired, but the more you run, the more you skill up your running ability, and you can run further distances without getting tired, But again, you're being rewarded. So, um, so here I was talking about character progression. I was talking about weapon skill progression, magic skill. I was talking about reputation or faction or enmity, craft. I was just basically out here. I was just listing like basically what are different types, character progression types, what are different types of character progression, there's crafting, there's secondary skills, life skills, pickpocketing, first aid, camping, survival. So here in this, I was kind of talking about how can we make MMOs better. Obviously, better AI with NPCs. I think, to me, one of the biggest avenues that MMOs can be improved is AI. I think AI can take MMOs to a completely different level. And the reason I say that is because the NPCs are going to be able to remember you. They're going to be able to build a relationship with you, and the AI is going to be smart enough to converse with you in a way that, it may have built into the AI certain things that it can talk about. And I don't know how it's going to work, but it could be pretty cool. And the other thing with the AI too is just the monster AI, the enemy AI. In most MMOs, the enemy AI is atrocious. It's atrocious. I mean, you see how, like, when I was fighting the skeletons, I was just, LOSing them. I just run behind a pillar, and the skeleton couldn't cast a spell, so he had to run. And I guess that's not really bad. That's not really bad. But there's examples of games where there's a tree that has grown up and split in two in the middle, and the wolf is chasing me, and I jump through that split, and the wolf gets stuck, and he tries to jump through, but he can't make it, so he just sits there running in place. That's just an example of bad AI pathing. So yeah, Terry, Blizzard did sell. They did, Microsoft did buy them, so we don't really. I mean, is that going to be a bad thing? Probably. Most of the times when Microsoft buys a company, it's not usually a good thing, to be honest. I can't think of examples of where Microsoft has bought companies that really, they bought Skype, they ruined that. I can think of software they bought that they've ruined, um, but anyways, this is just like, just things I've thought about. I mean, I think there's lots of, there certainly is a lot of things that can be done to make MMOs better. And I mean, I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours and hours and hours. Um, I think some of the big things, these are just basic stuff like progression, but new ideas, like I said, day-night time cycles, systems that make slow traveling. But there's other stuff, like I said, like, like lower, like I would say more set items with set bonuses, and additional abilities, like I talked about previously. I don't know if I put that in this one. Yeah, we did. So here. Hold on a second, my wife's texting me. She's My wife's texting me. She's sitting in her parents' house right now. Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. My wife's at her parents, and she said she actually told me, I'm going to my parents today. She's like, that way you don't have to work, because my wife's been very, she's got a lot of heart problems and she's been very sick. So I deal with a lot of stress pretty much every day because she had a heart attack. She's had 2 heart attacks. She had one heart attack 2 weeks ago, and then she had another heart attack. Her first one was a couple years ago, and she's got a really bad condition where stuff in her veins keeps clogging up, and so she's actually high risk for heart attack at almost any moment. And but we're working on trying to figure out a kind of a fix for it. But unfortunately, her condition, there's no cure for it yet, but they're working on one, and they might have one in a couple of years. So we just got to get her through the next couple of years and hopefully get to that cure. But yeah, so I mean, but there's other new ideas, like major ideas. Like I said, I've thought of 50 to 100 major ideas for MMOs over the years. I just have never written them down, so I've forgotten them all. But I think if we think about MMOs again, I think the best way to approach it is the first thing is to think about what do you not like about MMOs. Let's say create a list of the things you don't like, because then that gives you an idea of how to how are we going to fix those things we don't like. So we said, what are the things, progression. I said these are the categories, right? So categories, progression. Categories. Actually, this would be like a heading. Heading 3. Nah. Anyways. Yeah, well, she's on a strict food diet. She has been for quite a while. So it's a whole other, whole other thing, but it's tough. Like I said, I pretty much worry about her nonstop, 24/7. So there is a high degree of stress that I've been under, and I've gotten sick because of it, and she knows that, and that's why today to give me a break from just having to do that. When she's here, I pretty much am like, I don't want to say I'm like a servant, but I mean I wait on her hand and foot, because I'm trying to make things easier for her, like I help get her things that she needs, she just had a heart attack 2 weeks ago, so I mean, I make lunch and dinner for her, and if she needs stuff, I bring it to her, and I don't make her have to do too much. I deal with the dog, I walk the dog, I pretty much, do the dishes and feed the cats, feed the animals. I take care of all that stuff, and the only thing she really does is like she'll do the laundry, but I'll put it away. She just washes it and hangs it up, then I put it away. And of course, I take care of all the bills and all that stuff, so she doesn't have to worry about that shit. But she knows that it wears on you. It wears on anybody when you're stressed. Stress will wear you down. So, Terry, I'm sorry. I just don't understand your English that well. I wish I did. I'm sorry. So, new ideas. Let's go ahead and italics this one and get rid of this. So, what are other new ideas I've thought up? I mean, obviously, dynamic. More dynamic systems. Better AI. Obviously, better AI for NPCs and enemies. This is a huge one. New MMOs really need much better AI. We need more dynamic events. Which is just kind of like how dynamic events where you're moving through the world and just things happen, and they need to be random, more dynamic random events. And I guess dynamic really kind of is random, but not necessarily, because when you play Guild Wars 2, there's certain dynamic events that occur, but they always occur at the same place, so it's not really random. I mean, when you go to that place, it's on a cyclical system. It's like it starts at 1 o'clock, and then every hour maybe this caravan moves from this town every hour. So if you go there every hour at the beginning of the hour, it's going to be there. So it's not necessarily random, but it's kind of dynamic in that, it's not something that you really have to talk to somebody to do it. It's just there. So, but other things that I really feel like, more, did I put it here? More lives. I put it here somewhere. What are things in progression? I'm trying to think where I put it, but we need more secondary skills. I think the game should, we got to be careful. Yeah, scripted can get boring. So one of the things that I've agonized over is how to create content for an MMO that doesn't become trivial like that. Where, like, for example, you play World of Warcraft, when you first learn how to do a quest chain, you have to learn it. You have to read the quest. You have to figure out how to do it. But once you've done it, if you create a new character and you go back, then it's exactly the same as before. So you already know how to do it. I've always wanted to be able to get rid of that and say that every time you do one thing, it's gone. Like, you know what I mean? So, and the only real, and MMOs have done it to a certain point, and that's a whole other topic, right? I could spend hours talking about that. But one of the ways that you do that is to basically make it specific to the character. And, like I said, RPGs have done this. RPGs do this, where basically everything you do on your character is very difficult. Everything you do on your character creates like this whole, like, so let's just call it, what we're going to call it. So we have new ideas. And really, these shouldn't be bullet points. These should be, we're going to number these items, right? And we're going to say character profile. Character profile for the character profile that affects everything in the world that interacts with that character. So basically, and there's a better way to say that, right? But what I'm saying is, I wanted to get that suggestion again. Damn it. What is it telling me? What's the ... Whatever. Character. Damn it. Character. Anyways. What I'm saying is the game, it's like a living world where the game changes based on all the things you've done, all the decisions you've made. So let's say it would be like, it would almost be like this matrix, right? Can we do insert? So let's say, you've got your character, Shady Moon. And actually, let's get rid of that. So it'd be like a matrix. And it would be like, and across the top, there might be, or across the left, there's going to be certain things like, I don't know, first aid, hunting, and, bow, and rep with the iron dwarves. Okay. So then you say, okay, and here we say, is first aid greater than 100, right? And if it is, such and such things are affected by that, right? So as you move through the game knows that your first aid is above 100. So because of that, perhaps certain things become available to you. For example, let's say hunting. Let's say you have a hunting skill, and your hunting skill is hunting greater than 200. If it is, maybe your perception is greater at nighttime, and you don't have the same negative. Let's see, in nighttime, less chance of surprise attack. Stuff like that. Or like your bow's a certain skill level. You have a certain level of reputation with the Iron Dwarves. Oh, your rep is greater than 500. Storm. Let's see. Redbeard dwarf talks to you because of that, right? Redbeard dwarf talks to you because of that. So. But the game builds all of this over time. The longer you play the game, it's building this huge profile for your character. And all these things. It would be super intricate. But not too intricate, because you only have so many professions, right? And there's only so many reputations. But everything in the game changes. Like all of the quests and all the NPCs that speak with you based on this information will interact with you in a different way, right? So they might talk to you about a certain thing. Maybe maybe the guy knows you're really good with the bow, and he says, "Man, since I've heard you're such a good archer, maybe you need to check out this. Tournament that's going on for archery. Maybe you can win some money, or maybe I've heard of this fabled magical powerful bow or something, and because you're such a great archer, maybe you want that. Maybe if you can go over here and look and see if you can find this magical bow." You know what I mean? So you basically, all this information affects the world. So it's basically, you said it right, it's a living world, right? And but all these things are totally doable in today's world. The real limitations with MMOs in the past was processor speed, and internet speed was the biggest hurdle to get over. But now we've kind of gotten past the internet speed, and now everybody's got fast internet. And then, of course, trying to do really good graphical things in the game came down to computer, video cards and stuff, and having better, But now we've kind of gotten past that. So and now we've got better AI. We've got, AI is going to allow some of this stuff some of the character and NPC dialogues to become a lot more robust. Disk storage is a lot cheaper. Server farms are probably a lot cheaper. You don't need as much power. There was a thing about Vanilla WoW when people were asking for them to put out Classic WoW, and then Blizzard was kind of talking about how they weren't going to do that, and then eventually when they did say they were going to do it, they said they could, they said they sold all the old servers that actually ran Classic WoW. They made a joke so if you've got any of those old servers, you can sell back to us. But a lot of the limitations of the original game were completely gone now because, servers are more powerful. Having a server, WoW was developed, Vanilla WoW was developed to have about 2,500 to 3,000 players online on a server at a time. That was it. They didn't, it was developed in a way that was about the right amount of people spread out in the world. So when I played, one of the private servers I played on was Lights Hope. There was a time in Lights Hope when I'd log in and there were 10,000 people on the server. That server was fucking crowded. Trying to do quests in the low-level zones was hard because there were so many people trying to kill the same mobs you were trying to kill. That's because the game wasn't made for 10,000 people. It was made for 2,500 to 3,000. So that just, what I'm saying is, the limitations were different back then. Now there are a lot, we can do a lot more with these games in today's world. And don't forget that we've got, VR, and we've got virtual reality. We've got augmented reality. I'm not going to be around on this planet much longer. I'm 54, so maybe I'll live for another 40 years or something. I don't know. My family has long genes in my family. So people live to a pretty old age. So I'm going to bet that I'll be around at least into my late. My mom's 86 right now. So, but So I'm going to be around long enough, hopefully, to see some really amazing stuff in game development. But what I'm saying is, this kind of stuff I'm talking about shouldn't be difficult. And I'm a developer. I write code for a living. I write code every day. So this type of stuff I'm talking about isn't out of the realm. Really, what it comes down to is how much money they want to spend. How much money are you going to put into the development of these games? But there's so much cool stuff we can do with an MMO that isn't being done right now. Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, mob tagging. I think that I like the Guild Wars 2 thing. I don't know how Guild Wars 2. I mean, to me, like, experience should always be based on the percentage. So if there's like, if there's like a mob, if I'm level 10 and you're level 10 and we're walking through the world and there's a level 10 mob and you start shooting it with your bow and it's a quest mob, I guess, and I need to kill those and I start shooting it with my bow, or I go up and hit with my sword and you do 40% of the damage and I do 60% of the damage, and the mob was level 10 and he's worth like 300 experience, or let's just say, just for mathematical purposes, we'll say he's worth 100 experience. You're going to get 40 experience. Because you did 40% of the damage, and I'm going to get 60 experience because I did 60% of the damage. Or we could double that, so we really should double that number. So you shouldn't be getting like, we shouldn't basically penalize people for killing the same mob, I don't think. So I would say that if the mob was worth 100 experience, and we should probably maybe if we doubled it. Let's say if we doubled it. And we say that, okay, so you did 40%, so you'd get 80 experience, and then I'd get maybe 120, but then now you're getting more than what it's worth, so that doesn't really make sense either. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely think the experience should be based on how much percent damage you do, because we don't want people to mob tag. You don't want somebody to go up and just like, to basically like go up and like tap 10 mobs, and then somebody comes over and drops a big powerful AoE spell, kills them all, and you're getting full experience. That should not happen. So it has to really be in a percentage of what it's worth. So I think if it's worth 100 experience and you do 40% damage, you should get 40 experience. If the other person did 60% damage, they should get 60 experience. I think that's pretty much how it should be, because it's the simplest way to do it. Yeah, but it allows you to complete quests together. Yeah, I totally agree that Guild Wars 2's the way Guild Wars 2 does it is better. Guild Wars 2 also does something where they scale the zones to your level, and I think WoW even does that in later versions of WoW. That's another thing. Another thing that I would like to see, which most MMOs don't do this, right? Most MMOs don't do this. And we'll just say, living character profile, file table, example, secret. Let's see. So basically, zones are not based on level, right? So one thing we see all the time in MMOs, which I'm not really a fan of. You think it's a good thing? I don't think so. I wouldn't do it that way. I wouldn't do the scaling. That's not the way I would do it. It's really a tough thing to really discuss, because what I would do. Do we have shapes on here? Actually, no, we don't need that. Let's just do brushes. So, actually, this is a good one. So what I would do is, right, like this, this. So there is a method to this madness. Somebody's going to get the award if they can figure out what I'm doing. If anybody there can figure out what I'm doing, I'd be very impressed if you know what I'm doing here. Okay, so think of this. Think of this as like a zone. Like this little piece of canvas is like a map, right? This rectangle is like a zone, and all these colors represent the strength of the monsters in those areas. Green being the weakest monsters, right? Blue, light blue being the next strongest. The other blue here is the next strongest. The yellow is the next strongest. This is all one zone, right? So what I'm saying is that this zone has monsters that level range 1 all the way up to, level 1 all the way up to level 35. Okay? This red spot is a level 35 monster or 2 monsters. This is like a level 32 monster. This is a 1 to 8. This is a 9, or no. This would be like something like a 9 to 12. Maybe a 13 to 17, 18 to 25, So you see what I'm getting at. So I'm not a fan of saying that a zone is like, in WoW, it's very specific. In WoW, you say like strength, and WoW's pretty limited. Like for example, Elven Forest. Elven Forest, the mobs are like level, 4 to 10. But that's the whole zone. That's it. So I'm not really a fan of that. In fact, I would take this a little bit further. I would take this a little further and say that this is, that this is 1 to, let's even say 1 to 45. So I like the idea of that no matter what zone you're in, that you could run into a monster that's 30 or even 40 levels higher than you. Because the one biggest problem with MMOs is the fear factor is not there. Like when you're playing MMOs, you're never scared, right? One of the things that makes hardcore WoW fun is the fear factor is there. Because if you die, you're done, right? But if you're leveling up, and if there isn't any fast travel, and you're going through these zones and you know that you might like walk into a mob that's 20 or 30 levels over you that can kill you in a heartbeat, and there's no fast travel, so you have to respawn into some like graveyard, or maybe you have to do a corpse run, right? And I'm not sure if I would do corpse runs in my MMO, but definitely what I'm trying to say is that the fear should be there. When I played Lineage 2, there were times that I went into the School of the Dark Arts, which was like this kind of structure that had these undead in it, and there were groups, and they were like around my level, but the thing is there were groups of them, and if I got like 2 or 3 of them on me, I was gonna die. So the fear factor was always there. I was always scared. I was like, man, I was going around the corner. I peeked around that corner to see what was there before I just ran around the corner. And that made the game so much more fun. So the fear factor isn't in MMOs. We need the fear factor. And you should be able to discover extremely powerful, high-level monsters in every single zone in the game. And there should be low-level monsters in every single zone in the game. Because that's real world, right? That's just the real world. Like if you're walking out into the forest in Canada, you may run into a bear or you may run into a rabbit. That's just real world. The rabbit's a lot less dangerous to you than the bear, right? And an MMO should be the same way. So I'm really sick of this, this zone's 10 to 15 and this zone's 16. I don't like linear questing either. And having zones like this gets rid of the linear questing, right? Gets rid of the linear questing. Yeah. Did you see the world boss? I don't know if you saw me playing Terra the other day where I went up and hit this world boss and he just stomped me into the ground in 1 second. I don't know if you saw that, but it was funny as shit. The cool thing about doing it this way too is you'll have the ability to level in almost any zone, right? There might be stuff you can do in any zone, right? So there's a lot of benefits to this. The benefits are you could do some sort of progression in almost every zone. And because the zone has such a range of characters and levels that you could walk into all kinds of players from all different types of levels and strength, right? So like if you're in Elven Forest, you don't typically see a lot of level 60 players just running around in Elven Forest because there's nothing to do for them. But in my MMO, that wouldn't be the case. That wouldn't be the case. So this is something that you hardly ever see. And it really surprises me that it isn't this way, right? So and it also keeps every zone relevant to a certain degree because there's always something even high-level characters can do in every single zone, right? And the other thing I would do is I would randomize it, right? And I would say that maybe this guy, the other thing that I would do on my MMO is this guy here, this powerful whatever it is, maybe he's here today, but you know what? He's not there tomorrow. Maybe he's over here, you know? Maybe tomorrow he's migrated and now he's here. Maybe next week he's over here, right? And then the other thing is I would even like, now this would be very difficult to do, but I would love to see taking the living world to the next level. I would love to see even geography changes. Or like, let's say you go through a zone and there's a little village here, right? There's a little village here, right? I don't know how I can draw a village in here, but let's say there's a little village here. There's a little lake and a little water. And then maybe this village gets attacked by raiders and it gets burned to the ground, right? So the next time you come through, it's just a freaking burned down wreck of buildings. So I would like to see more dynamic stuff like that in the game. So the zones aren't always going to be identical. You know, everything's not always going to be the same, right? Maybe one, and then there's other, and a lot of these ideas aren't new. Right? Also, another thing you could do is like you could go to a town and it might be a couple buildings. Maybe the next time you come to that town, there's a big church. So they've built a church. Maybe the next time you come to that town, there was a river. Maybe the next time you come to town, they built a bridge over the river. So as you're moving through this zone, you couldn't get past the river, right? The river went like this, and there was a bridge here. So anytime you went through the zone on foot, you had to go all the way to here to get here. But then all of a sudden, maybe at some point, this town that was here, they built a bridge here. Now guess what? All of a sudden, you can go across the bridge here. Maybe there's a quest where a bunch of players can work together to help build this bridge, right? They can actually help build this bridge. And then it makes this zone more easily traversable. Okay? Now what I'm saying is I'm just popping this stuff in my head, off the top of my head right now. I'm telling you, you could put me in a room with other creative people and I could freaking come up with shit nonstop for an MMO. Nonstop, right? And there's so many things that you can do with an MMO to make it better than the way they are now, right? So, and these are just shit I could pull off the top of my head. And there's some, like I said, there were some groundbreaking things I came up with over the last couple of years that I didn't write down, and I've forgotten them, and it makes me really mad that I've forgotten those things. But this is one that's come into my head many times. Is I don't like zones being limited to like a very short range of type of characters. I think it's stupid. There's also something that some MMOs do, which is called like a buddy system. And that's been done in games like City of Heroes. There's also things that have been done in Battlegrounds, for example. When you start talking about PvP, there's lots of ideas around PvP. How are you going to handle PvP? There's interesting stuff, and PvP is a whole other topic of discussion. One of the things that Guild Wars 2 did, which I think really hurt Guild Wars 2, is they didn't make PvP gear in the beginning when Guild Wars 2 first came out and you did Battlegrounds. And I love PvP. I love Battlegrounds and Guild Wars 2, by the way. They're actually really fun. And but they didn't make the gear. The gear was cosmetic. It was purely cosmetic. Well, hardcore PvPers, they want a real reason to do PvP. They want gear that actually makes them stronger. So that was a really big mistake, I thought. And I think Guild Wars, I think ArenaNet, figured it out, because now when you're doing world versus world in Guild Wars 2, you can actually start to get I don't remember how you get the chests. We get these chests, and we open the chests. They have gear, so you can get gear that makes you stronger by doing PvP in Guild Wars 2 now. But you couldn't, at least not in the battlegrounds. You couldn't initially. But I always thought that was a bad decision. But there's also the thing of like World of Warcraft. That the most fun I've ever had in PvP was the 2 games I had the most fun in PvP for a MMO was World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft Arena and Battlegrounds are fantastic. But actually, my next favorite for PvP as far as Battlegrounds was actually Rift. Doing some of the Battlegrounds in Rift was actually super fun. Really fun. Oh, no, I forgot. The all-time Battleground of all time in any game ever, Hut Ball. In freaking Knights, Knights of the Old Republic, man. Like, right? Star Wars The Old Republic. Star Wars The Old Republic, Hut Ball is hands down the best Battleground game mode of all time. So cool. Super cool. If you've never played Hut Ball in Star Wars The Old Republic, amazing mode. Really, really cool. But one thing that made PvP in World of Warcraft so good was that you could go into Battlegrounds with gear that you crafted from your professions that had a massive impact on the play. Like you could have stuff like the underwater helmet from engineering where you could charge somebody and stun them. You could have the cloak, the engineering cloak that allowed you to swoop through the air, slow fall or whatever. You could create gliders. You could create rocket boots, were just amazing. Dynamite, all these different types of things that were usable in PvE and PvP, and that's good. That's good. And then there were things that Blizzard did that were bad. So when I talked about the scaling, they talked about like scaling, like you go into there's some MMOs where when you go into PvP battlegrounds, they basically scale everybody the same. So they basically just say it doesn't matter what gear you have when you go in, everybody has the same stats. So they basically normalize all the stats, and then it just comes down to player skill level. I don't really like that because I feel like part of doing PvP is getting the gear, and because you have the gear and you've worked hard to get that gear, that you should be rewarded for that gear and be able to beat the shit out of the guy who hasn't done jack shit and he just started playing the game yesterday and he doesn't have any good gear. Well, you worked hard to get your gear, so part of the benefit of that is that you can stomp other people that don't have good gear. But there has to be... But I mean, that's why you do the brackets. That's why the PvP is based into, brackets. Because obviously you don't want a level 58 player going into a level 1 through 10, fighting people that are level 10. So that's why it's done the way it's done. And I think it's great. I think World of Warcraft's PvP brackets worked out really, really well. Yeah, so... Yeah, I think... you think it should be separate? I think it was pretty simple. I think the one thing they did was they added resilience to the PvP gear, and that was their way to solve that. And that was the way to solve that problem, and it worked. I mean, it worked. When they first put like resilience on PvP gear, you could go into a PvP battleground with really amazing PvE gear, and yes, you would hit really hard. But the thing is, if someone else had like 700 resilience, your PvE gear wouldn't really do that much damage to them because they had all that resilience. You still did a lot of damage, but the problem is when they hit you because you didn't have PvP gear, they would just shred you. Because without resilience, you would just get shredded. So I thought resilience actually was a really nice way to do it. There's other ways that PvP's been done where basically PvP gear basically just like you said makes you stronger or gives you benefits that are more influential for PvP, like it reduces like your stun durations or it gives you better like armor penetration, or there's certain things that they did it. But I actually thought resilience was an excellent way to do it. I thought it was really good. Yeah, I thought resilience was a great way to basically say, hey, if you go into battlegrounds with PvE gear, you're probably gonna get fucked. Because if you didn't have resilience and everybody else had resilience, you're just not going to do well. So I think that really worked out pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing in World of Warcraft, my complaint about PvP and WoW was just that tank specs weren't viable, and I'm very much against that. The one thing I've always liked, my play style in almost any game really is I like to play more of a defensive play style. I'm not really an aggressive player. I like to be more of a reactionary player. And unfortunately, reactionary players like defensive players aren't really rewarded in most games. And that goes for FPS games. That goes for battle royale games. That goes for MMOs. It's very difficult to be rewarded as a defensive player. Um, but I would, so yeah, definitely World of Warcraft really shit on tanky builds for PvP, and I think that's really a shame because I think tanky builds for PvP and they're done really well in other games. I mean, in a lot of games, what they did with like Guild Wars 2 or some other games is the tanks would initiate. So basically, the tank would be the frontline guy, and other people might attack the tank, but it would be very difficult to kill the tank. And the tank might have the ability to target people. Sometimes they'd have like a harpoon or some sort of way to engage, maybe a charge, where they could charge in and stun 3 or 4 people at once, and that enabled the rest of his more DPS heavy people come in and do stuff. So yeah, so that's really good. And yeah, a lot of games implemented tanks for PvP in really good ways, but WoW never has done that. WoW has always been really shitty. So, and it's one of the things that I've always hated about WoW PvP because I like to play tanks. I play, I will say that in Wrath of the Lich King, that the Protection Paladin's actually fairly decent. They're not great, but they're decent. I went into Battlegrounds in Wrath of the Lich King Classic and did some pretty good damage. I dominated a few battlegrounds, but there was one person I ran into that I went head to head against, and they made me look foolish, and it was a DK. And the reason they made me look foolish is that I did a lot of damage, but it's just like they just healed so much. I was fighting this DK, and I just felt like I wasn't doing any damage. It was because they were self healing like an insane amount. So I don't know what their gear was, and it was funny because they were the only DK that did that. I ran into a lot of DKs that I dominated, but there was this one DK, and whenever I saw her in a battleground, I was like, man, I ain't gonna attack that DK because I could never kill her. Yeah, burst, and the thing is, I don't like burst. Like I've always said that I thought Arena Season 1 was probably the best Arena season, just simply because it wasn't bursty. There was no real burst. It was more strategic. It was more, where maybe like mind controlling or mana burning, or it was more positional, trying to set up kills with CC. I thought it was really cool. And the one thing with World of Warcraft is that there's too many abilities. There's too many abilities, and you've seen videos by Zaryu and Venruki. Both those guys have done videos on does WoW have too many systems? Is WoW too complicated? And the simple answer is yes. If you're doing videos and you're doing streams titled "Is WoW too complicated?" Well, then of course it is, because you wouldn't be creating a stream or a video discussing that if there wasn't people grumbling about it being too complicated. And it is. Any player comes into WoW and tries to go into Dragonflight and do PvP who's never played World of Warcraft before, they're going to seriously struggle. There's a steep learning curve. And I've played WoW ever since 2004, since the game came out. And if I go into Dragonflight Arena, I get my ass handed to me because I stopped playing retail a long time ago. Like I'll go in and play retail a little bit, and I still can be extremely successful in Battlegrounds up to max level. Because what happens is once you get to max level, you start to get, like in the battle groups leading up to the max level, like almost every expansion, I'll create a character and level them just via PvP only, right? So if you go into my channel, and do a search for, Shadowlands, Shadowlands Survival Hunter PvP or something. You see WoW Shadowlands Survival Hunter leveling to 60 via PvP, right? And let's see if we can get. So here, you can see I'm a level 42 hunter in Shadowlands. I'm a survival hunter, mostly PvP, and this is like, and they're awesome. I mean, survival hunter in Shadowlands is amazing, right? And so if you watch this, and I want to show you this, let's get some battlegrounds going. And let's see if we can get a good battleground. Like here's an Eye of the Storm, right? Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So here we are, Eye of the Storm. And you can look at my bars here. I've got I got my pet stun, I've got my kill command, I've got my harpoon. I've got my ranged explosive bomb. But again, I'm equipped with a 2-hand staff. I don't have a bow. I don't have a gun or anything. I mean, it's really a melee hunter, but I have ranged abilities. And because I'm a war, and I love Worgens for hunters in retail. Love it because the Worgen has this racial that's almost like a sprint. Plus they have the shifts. They also have the wild running. So I don't even need a mount, right? I just hit shift spacebar and I go down on all fours and run around on all fours, which is just awesome. So check this out. Of course, I'm using a mount, but I don't have to though. I have heavy opinions on how Eye of the Storm should be played, so you'll hear me bitch nonstop about teams that don't play it correctly. I'm always like, these bastards. Throw my trap. Oh man, I wish I would zoom in my camera. This is one thing that's interesting. I'm surprised that my camera's so far zoomed out, but I think I started doing a lot more of my camera zoomed in for hardcore just because I think for people watching my streams, I think it's more enjoyable for you guys. But when I was playing PvP, I might have had the camera a little bit, but man, I didn't realize I played this because I don't like to play too far zoomed out. But this is really far. I didn't know that I played this far zoomed out. I'm really surprised I have it this far zoomed out. Right now, I'm just using my pet to beat people up. I'm just, yeah. You can see here, I've got my explosive bomb on them. I've got my poison on them. I'm going to use my poisons and explosives a lot. Also, I have this ability right here somewhere. I'm trying to find my bars. I think it's just on cooldown, but it's an ability that when it's this one here, I think it's on a 2-minute cooldown. But you know, when I use this ability, it makes my Raptor Strike be able to be used at range, so I can actually hit people from distance with not only my poison dart and my explosive bombs. I don't remember what they're called, but also my Raptor Strike can be used at range. So I can actually, I'm almost like a ranged damage dealer, right? I think probably I had it zoomed out because I wanted to keep track of where the players were in the back here to see where they were going, to see which base they were headed towards, so that I could better track like where where they were headed. Yeah. You can see now, and I'll always fill out the middle to see how we're doing, and I feel like we're doing pretty good. So you'll see me probably start to push. You can see there I'm using my ranged ability, which is, you can see I was like throwing stuff. And now I'm throwing my explosive bomb. And you can see the explosive bomb's hitting multiple targets. So here it does a ton of damage. So not a lot of, because there's so many, I can't charge in, unfortunately. There's actually a battleground. Let's see. This one here. This one's really good. Like here, here I'm, and you can see here I'm zoomed in more, probably because of the map. So let's check this out. All right. You can see I'm doing my running on all fours. Just checking out. I know there's a hunter on my right. A couple mobs, you know. But this is shit I love. I'm a PvP player at heart, so I love PvP. Just scoping it out. I'm just kind of playing the field right now, seeing where the people are at. This is when I was streaming, I think, just, I wasn't streaming at 2K here, so it doesn't look quite as nice. Here we're going to try to take out a Warlock. Let's see how much damage we can do to this Warlock. Boom! All right, here we go. We're going to kick that fear. Oh, there's the fear! I trinketed it. Putting the pressure on. Look at my health, though. Look at my health, dude. My health's like 100%. Look at that. You can see, like, my health is like 100%. Against a warlock. There are times when you played a hunter against a warlock, you would get destroyed. Not in Shadowlands. Now my pet. No, he's dead. He's dead. Oh, like kill him, kill him. Yeah, he's dead. No, I can't. Bubble baby. Got to trap the other guy. Get this hunter down. Come on, get him down. Oh, he's going for the aim shot. It doesn't matter. He's dead anyway. Get a few. Yeah, that marksman hunter like rooted me with that arrow, and you can see I didn't even know what it was because but so what I did was every time a new expansion would come out, I would create a character, go to get them to level 10, and then I would queue battlegrounds, and I would level them all the way to max level just doing battlegrounds. And so I know I didn't do any of the PvE content. I didn't do the storylines, anything. And so it was fun up until max level. But what happens is once I got to max level, I hadn't done any of the story, like the actual quests, the main storyline quests. And the way retail WoW works, which is really stupid, is that you have to open up all this shit and do all this like reputation, and then they always give you these stupid like borrowed power systems that are only good for this expansion. It's like, oh, I've got to go through and pick all these extra like abilities based on all this questing. It's just I didn't like that. Like, so basically I leveled all the way through all the brackets in PvP, and I was pretty dominant on my character. But once I got to max level, I went from being dominant at every PvP bracket to being garbage, like straight up garbage. You know. But yeah, WoW PvP is some of the best. I mean, the battlegrounds of WoW are some of the best. You know. Yeah, RMP is always RMP is always good. RMP is always good. Yeah, it was the Covenant. I think I couldn't remember what they were called, but that's what I was talking about. I was talking about the Covenant skills because I hadn't attained any Covenant skills. I was garbage. I was like straight up garbage. And I was like, I'm not gonna go. And I tried to go through the quests in Shadowlands. It was the worst. Shadowlands, in my opinion, is the worst expansion, and it's not even close. It's like not even close. The story was so stupid and boring. I was not vested in it at all. I hated it. I absolutely every time I tried to do it, I actually got mad. I started like yelling and screaming on stream like this stuff sucks. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's not the way it should be, you know? It's Hunter Shaman, isn't it? I can't remember. Well, this poor hunter's going to get I went up to the DK though. I wonder why I went to him. I figured he's probably more of a threat, or that I knew the hunter would just bubble and run. Probably that I knew the hunter would bubble and run, would turtle up. Yeah. So look at that. Just crush that DK. Yeah. So Shadowlands is super super fun, and again, it really started in Battle for Azeroth. Like if you play Battle for Azeroth, the survival hunter in Battle for Azeroth is just as fun. But yeah, I definitely feel like Worgen is by far the best hunter for me. Anyways, I thought it was fantastic. You know, I mean, I've got multiple sprints. You've got this is racial sprint. You've got the cheetah sprint. Oh man, this is so cool. What do you mean it's oppressive? Oh, you hate playing against one? I love playing. Do we have any more? I'm trying to think what I haven't obviously I haven't played this in a while, so I don't really remember what classes gave me the most trouble. So this was streamed May 11th, 2022, so 2 years ago. Yeah, like a little bit less than 2 years ago. Wow, time, you know. Let's see if there's some more combat. I don't know what classes I struggled against. I think mages probably are always probably tough. Here's a rogue. Well, this is interesting. I was at 72 health. Look at that, dude. I was at 72 health. He shadow stepped to me. I was trying to get him to go into that trap. He- Yeah, I hadn't really run into too many rogues that were shadow stepping. I guess maybe they were doing a different build. It's shadow steps every spec though, isn't it? Yeah. Shadow step was smart because he basically bypassed my trap. Yeah, I would have trapped behind you. I thought he was a noob. Is basically what I'm saying. Basically, what I'm saying is I thought he was a noob. Yeah, but the survival hunter I pretty much dominated almost every melee class. I think the only classes I struggled with were I think could be tough. Warrior could be pretty tough because warrior hit pretty hard, especially like a protection warrior. Like I think I struggle against protection warriors if I remember correctly. And of course, I think mages were also difficult because they could just root my pet and you know, yeah. Let's see if I'm gonna put the score up here. I'm just curious how the score looks. Okay, so you can see Shady Veil. I'm here. It's 7 killing blows, and 2 deaths. So I died a couple times. My damage 69,000. So I'm not anywhere near the highest. You know, the top guy's up around 105 damage, and the healing 16k healing. So healing's not super high, but good. I mean, just solid numbers. You know, solid numbers. How do you? Yeah, middle of the pack. I honestly I didn't I played Dragonflight and again I liked playing the PvP leveling up. So the thing I did play that was pretty cool in Dragonflight that I liked was the Arcane Mage. I thought was in the early parts. Let's see, Dragonflight, Arcane, Arcane Mage was super cool. Let's see, and like I said, I do this every expansion. You see, WoW, Dragonflight, Age of Dragons, leveling an Arcane Mage via PvP, right? So you can see where I, you know, so this is a dungeon. Looks like I did do dungeons. I think at some point I maybe did some. Let's see how I do on this arcade mage. Oh, okay, this is my favorite battleground, by the way. This particular battle, what's it called? Twin Peaks or whatever. This is my favorite battleground. I love this battleground. I'd say my favorite ones are, you know, Wrathy Basin, Twin Peaks. I have a love-hate relationship with Eye of the Storm. Battle for Gilneas is not one of my favorite ones. Let's see. So here I'm on a Arcane Mage. And Arcane Mage was really fun in Dragonflight. Nobody got the damage buff, the DA. Damage amplifier, what we called it in Unreal Tournament. You got to get the DA, baby. Do I engage? Nah. There's like 4 enemies there, and I'm by myself, so not gonna engage that. I think there was one shaman, or no, there's a mage over there. He's probably getting owned right now. Yeah, he's dead. Yeah, I do think that pre-mades should not queue into. I don't know how they. Yeah, I don't think that a pre-made group should be allowed to queue into random because it just isn't. You know, it's because they're organized and random isn't organized. So you're basically having organized PvP going up against non-organized, so it's not fair, really. So yeah, I do think they should be separate, and in fact, I think they should be. The bracket should specify that. I think you should actually have an option that says, you know, queuing as a pre-made. You can see here I go stealth. I'm gonna poly, and I'm gonna focus on the shaman. Now I got a rogue on me. He blinded me. I'm gonna trinket that. I'm gonna get some distance. Get my my protective shield back up, and poly down. And I guess I decided not to engage there. There's quite a few horde. That's probably why, I guess. I'm probably gonna take this. We're going to go for the priest. What are we doing? Arcane missiles? Too many. Going for the poly. Just playing the field a little bit. Boom! Poly down! You can see the magic missiles hit very hard. He's going for his heal. So this could be a healer. A healer, what is it, a windwalker? Or not a windwalker, what are they called? I'm spell stealing now. Frostbolt. Yeah, look at the damage. Now he's healing again. Arcane Surge. Oh, boom! Oh, look at that! Comes that rogue! I almost had him killed, then the rogue came up. Ice block! Ice block, thank you. But you see the damage? Did you see the damage, man? It's insane. Watch me drop some damage on this person. Oh, wait, I went too far? This guy, I'll just sheep him. Couple spell steals. Frostbolt. Sheep. No, arcane missiles. Arcane surge. Oh, ow! That was a pretty good damage, man. So yeah, so in Dragonflight, I tried Arcane Mage, which I thought was really fun. I did Destruction Warlock, but it wasn't as good as it was in Shadowlands. Destruction Warlock in Shadowlands was freaking amazing. And I'd never played a Destruction Warlock before, so I actually was going out of my mind. It was actually some of the most fun I've had in WoW in like 10 years. So I think it was Shadowlands. So here, WoW, leveling a Destruction Warlock in Shadowlands. Like I said, this is what I would do. I would go to different expansions and I would just level as PvP. You know? What level am I? I'm level 31. That's a pretty decent level. Oh, I'm actually on my rogue here. So I'm on my rogue here, so my stream wasn't tired. I guess I got tired of playing my warlock or something. Oh, here's leveling as a Void Elf Shadow Priest. Let's try this one. You. Here. I never played Outlaw. I don't think. Look, he's on me, the Death Knight. The cool thing about Destruction Warlock in Shadowlands is you were actually tanky. Like whenever I played Warlock in previous expansions, you just got wasted because you just weren't taking it. Look at this. I've got 3 people on me. Let's see if I can withstand some of this damage. Still alive. Look at my health going. See it going up, down, up, down. I think I'm getting healed though. I think somebody's healing me. Was he Outlaw Spect? Was he Outlaw Spect? I don't even remember. I don't remember, man. I might have played Outlaw, but I certainly don't. I know I'm not any good at it. Look at all these people on me. Here we go. Come on, let's get some chaos bolts. Here it comes. Boom! Come on, chaos bolt. We only got 1 chaos bolt in that exchange. Yeah, on the destruction warlock in these battlegrounds, if I had a pocket healer, I just annihilate people. It's crazy. But yeah, I found the destruction warlock in Shadowlands to be just absolutely a blast. It was so much fun. You can see here, my name is perfect, the best warlock name of all time, Dark Agony. 8 killing blows, 1 death, damage done 22,000. So I'm up there, you know, but they're at the top. There's somebody doing 31,000 damage. Oh, my wife's calling. I gotta get this.